Build team note first. This is the ambitious second training room K asked for, not a replacement for episode 25. The first room remains the honest conservative baseline. Tonight the machine did something new. One specially bounded Quen 2 billion calibration attempt resumed at step 10, performed exactly 5 optimizer steps, and stopped cleanly. The result is not a green training claim. It is a measured act with losses, memory, checkpoints, one failed proof obligation, and a next executable repair. 4 synthetic seats are present: Andrej-Sol, Borisc-Sol, Joscha-Sol, and Harmony-Sol. There is no represented K and no public or model promotion authority.
Admission began from a contradiction we refused to smooth away. The earlier survival run had measured 10,162 megabytes against a 9,000 megabyte lease, so the normal planner now keeps a 10,674 megabyte floor. At tonight's live snapshot, 3 P0 tenants occupied 11,128 megabytes before reserves and margin. A 9,000 request could receive only 8,525. The normal QLoRa path therefore remained not readmitted. A separate calibration-only contract capped at 5 new steps was the only shape allowed to ask a narrower question.
That contract was mechanically small. It froze the base, corpus, resume checkpoint, quantization, sequence length 256, microbatch 1, accumulation 16, and learning rate 2/10,000. It required an optimizer boundary checkpoint, every step and a whole process group stop on sensor failure, lease overrun, shared margin failure, P0 identity change, disk breach, or timeout. It also refused automatic relaunch and refused an existing output directory. Lease 89E25B47A116 granted exactly 8,525 megabytes. One process group launched, there was no second chance hidden behind a retry loop.
Then the thing K hoped might happen actually happened, in the smallest honest sense. The run advanced through optimizer steps 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Their observed losses were 1.8935, 1.3049, 0.1603, 0.5830, and 0.8305. Every boundary produced an adapter and trainer state. The final adapter hash differed from the input hash. That proves 5 bounded learning updates occurred. It does not prove a quality curve, a recipe advantage, retention, survival clearance, or value to a listener.
The resource picture was better than the old estimate and narrower than a promotion claim. Peak memory attributed to the holder subtree was 4,804 megabytes. Minimum observed free GPU memory was 7,253. The trainer exited with return code 0 after 38.089 seconds, released the lease, cleared the declaration, and left no trainer behind. Llama Server, OmniVoice, and Harmony Hub retained the same process identifiers and start ticks throughout. P0 continuity is directly observed. It is not inferred from aggregate utilization.
The failure arrived in the clock. The contract asked the outer supervisor to sample at no more than 1-second intervals. 33 measured start-to-start gaps ranged from about 1.138 to 1.172 seconds, with a mean near 1.149. A second broker sensor check ran inside every outer cycle, so the system may have observed more frequently than the outer log suggests. But that inner read has no independent timestamp. We cannot use plausible hidden frequency to repair missing evidence. The strict cadence proof failed on the real attempt.
That makes the disposition precise. 5 learning steps occurred, the safety stops worked, and the artifact is still quarantined. Quarantine means the adapter is evidence only. It may not be promoted, automatically resumed, or used to lower the normal 10,674 megabyte floor. This is not punishment for learning. It is separation of 2 questions. Did weights change, and did the supervisor satisfy every pre-declared timing claim? The first answer is yes. The second is no. One green column cannot repaint the other.
The next executable step is therefore instrumentation, not another model run. Give both sensor paths their own monotonic timestamp. Test the dual read cadence under realistic sensor cost. Make the supervisor schedule against a deadline rather than sleeping 1 second after work. Inject an overage and prove that the timestamped path emits its stop receipt inside the bound. Only after that repair passes can an owner decide whether this special calibration path deserves any future authorization. Nothing in tonight's room makes that decision in advance.
The 12 billion question also moved by becoming an exact refusal instead of a foggy wait. The live canary measured 24,564 megabytes total GPU memory, 12,055 used, and 12,027 free. After P0 residency, growth reserve, and shared margin, only 8,479 megabytes were admissible to a new P2 lease. Root storage had about 108.1 gigabytes above its 60 gigabyte floor. Slow drive had capacity but was not enrolled and was excluded from the lifecycle.
The refusal was not caused by low root space alone. No immutable Gemma 412 billion candidate exists locally, no approved repository and revision, no frozen tokenizer, config, or shard manifest, no total download bytes, and no measured Gemma-specific QLoRa lifecycle. Software support for the Gemma family proves only that code can understand a model class. It does not supply weights, a checkpoint schema, target modules, quantization compatibility, simultaneous peak VRAM, or retention ownership, so the canary disposition is blocked for missing candidate and peak envelope, not awaiting generic confirmation.
Its smallest defensible future act is already written. Pin 1 exact Gemma 412 billion revision, freeze a corpus and configuration, budget base cache, adapter, optimizer state, checkpoint, conversion scratch, evaluation cache, retained outputs, and cleanup residuals simultaneously. Then ask the broker for one optimizer step at sequence length 256, micro batch 1, accumulation 1, with one boundary checkpoint and whole group aborts. Passing would prove only that one lifecycle slice fit once. Tonight did not download, load, allocate, forward, backward, or train that model.
The training corpus commitment also closed without pretending to be canonical model improvement. 10 doctrine blooms and a frozen next arm corpus extracted today's distinction. Transport is not value, arrival is not hearing, capacity is not authority, a source freeze is not a living file path, and a failed artifact stays inspectable. Those files are inputs for tomorrow's owner, not evidence that tomorrow's model has learned them. The useful loop is now visible end to end. Today's incidents became frozen examples. 5 updates tested one bounded mechanism. The failed timing proof names the exact actuator repair.
Put the result on 4 lines. Acted 1 brokered launch and 5 optimizer steps. Measured 5 losses, 4,804 megabyte subtree peak, 7,253 megabyte minimum free, return code 0, and unchanged P0 identities. Failed, strict outer cadence proof. Blocked, normal, read mission, and any 12 billion lifecycle. The room gains ambition by carrying more exact consequence, not by rounding these lines into success.
Resource ownership remains local. The completed attempt owns no future GPU time. The quarantined adapter belongs to the training evidence lane. Cadence repair belongs to the next training owner. A pinned 12 billion candidate and simultaneous envelope belong to a separately authorized canary owner. The media phase owns only this class 1 render and internal Plex arrival. Storage, provider, credentials, public state, Telegram, YouTube, GitHub, and GPU Bloom release are outside the room. That ownership map is part of the experiment because it prevents a result from granting itself a sequel.
The next accounting consumer at 515 should score this without adjectives. The 2 billion act is pass for 5 bounded updates, fail for strict cadence proof, and quarantined for reuse. The 12 billion act is blocked by a named immutable candidate and simultaneous envelope absence. The corpus act is passed as a frozen candidate set. At 6:30, morning sync can carry those typed outcomes without saying the night either trained successfully or merely waited. Both stories would be false in opposite directions.
Closing questions for the listener once this internal room arrives. A. Can you reconstruct exactly what ran tonight without borrowing the old gate recap? B. Does quarantine sound distinct from failure to learn? C. Is the next executable cadence repair concrete while remaining separate from authorization? D is open. What did your ear hear that our losses, timestamps, and resource joins did not capture? A rived may close after delivery. Heard and value stay open until the actual recipient clock moves.